Palantir may have closed lower today, but it continues to be the top gainer in the S&P 500 for the year. Take a look at this chart, up more than 300%. But the question is, can those gains continue into the new year? Joining us now are Alex Fishman. He's the founder of Empros Capital. He's also a former Palantir employee and an investor, and also Dan Ives from Wedbush. He joins us once again. Gentlemen, great to have you both here. Alex, I'm going to start off with you. We're looking at this tremendous growth when it comes to the stock price for Palantir, an even bigger acceleration after their most recent earnings. Can this trend continue? You work there, you know the business very well, you know Dr. Karp very well as well. How do you see the outlook for this company despite this big run-up?
Thanks so much for having me on, Frank. You know, when I look at Palantir, one of the only companies that I see where it's easy to imagine it being 10 or 20 times the current size. You know, it's just hard to see how many of the enterprises out there on the world today aren't going to end up with a product that looks nearly identical to Palantir.
So, Dan, going to come back over to you. You're nodding, and you're always bullish, but I'm gonna have to call one thing out here. You have a price target for Palantir of 75 bucks. That's below where the stock's trading. It's higher than the street. The street's at about 45, but you don't seem to see an upside for this stock past where it is.
No, it's great. I mean, like, our bull case is 100. But, I mean, as we've talked about with Palantir, they hate it as a teenager to start the year, despise it as a senior citizen, right, to end the year. And Frank, I believe this could be, when you say, who could be the next Oracle over the next, call it 5, 10 years? I think it's Palantir. When I think about the AI revolution, the reason they're the Messi of AI is that this is just the beginning of where I believe Palantir is heading. And as they continue to execute, you could start to justify a stock that goes much higher. And I think to me, that's why it's a get out the popcorn excitement going into 2025 for Karp and Palantir.
What does that mean? 100 is your bull case versus your
base
price
case,
target.
Yeah. I mean, the way that we've done Palantir, we view it as base case, bull case. And ultimately, as they execute, then ultimately you could raise the price target as they actually show the numbers. I think with Palantir, you got to show it as a sort of range, base and bull case.
Because it's high beta?
Because it's high beta.
But should investors be adding to their position at these levels if you believe the bull case is 100? Or should they be pausing given with stocks?
It's a great question. I mean, we believe this is just continues to be a table pounder because, in my view, where AI heads. Because if you think about it, and Alex is, who knows AI extremely well, I think if you actually see where this heads with AIP, this is a stock that could be multiples of where it is today, which has been our call the whole year, is that this is a name, it's a table pounder, and I think it continues to, sort of justify its valuation.
So one of the things that's moved Palantir higher is it's moving to the commercial business, working with private companies. Alex, I want to come back over to you, though. When we look at this consortium to get into defense, when we're talking about Palantir, SpaceX, OpenAI, and Anduril, how do you view that? Do you believe these companies, Palantir already has a good defense business, but do these companies, what do they represent in this new, quote-unquote, world of defense as we go forward in 2025 in your mind?
Well, I think it's an absolutely enormous opportunity. And in many respects, this is the way that we as America will get the very best and brightest technical minds working on products that can be deployed broadly to help defeat our adversaries. And, for Palantir, that means being the glue, means tying it all together, means coordinating all these things. Of course, for SpaceX, it means projecting dominance through space. And, for Anduril, of course, dominance in the drone arena. And for OpenAI, it means bringing the best AI models to bear.
Alex, you have a good vantage point of the startup ecosystem right now. And as we look ahead to 2025, I'm curious what your expectations are for the IPO window. As you talk to startups, as you talk to founders, what is it that is historically, at least over the last few years, been keeping them on the sidelines? And do you think that changes next year, particularly as it pertains to some of these native AI companies that the buy side's really been waiting on for a while?
I think the very best companies, and we've seen this historically, they don't need to go public. And that's what drove the direct listings of the past. And I think it's what's going to drive the best listings of the future. And if you look at the very largest, very, very best technology companies today, they'll go public on their terms. And they may even essentially be underwriting their IPOs because they'll be so profitable and making so much money before they list.